Hi everyone, this is a little presentation on differentiation in instruction and assessment, and the goal is to support all of our diverse learners. So why differentiation? Because teachers must address the needs of all our learners. And we know through Howard Gardner that our multiple intelligences are many, and we have multiple types of learners as well. The main ones are visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic, plus social and emotional intelligences. And we need to focus on the idea that everybody has some of these, and some are stronger than others. And in order to accommodate with the different levels of ability of our learners and the different types of support that everybody needs, we need to focus on ways to differentiate. Culturally responsive teaching is really powerful because it focuses on individual backgrounds, who our students actually are, and understanding by design the essential information that we want our students to learn, because we know that the standards are very numerous. So we really need to focus on what we want students to learn. And in order to do all of these things, we have to differentiate to reach our many different learners. There are many different types of instructional modes that are really helpful in accommodating more learners. And interestingly, many of these can be used by learners themselves to support their own learning. So for example, reading aloud and writing on the board, speaking or lectures or oral presentations with visuals, such as an interactive slides presentation, with images and songs and clips, maps, which are great for geospatial awareness and understanding, and graphs. These are really powerful ways to reach multiple types of learners. An audiobook, or if that's not available, a voice recording for a read-along is really powerful, especially when we have hopefully five or six classes, and we are going to read the same thing repeatedly. Having a voice recording of ourselves reading the materials, the sources, can be really helpful for students, especially for those who might need extra help or want to review later, or maybe who are absent. We can also do physical reenactments like a play or a sketch, or construct something physically like a poster or a diorama, and these are ways for visual learners to grasp the material. And also learners, again, can use these as different types of assessments or products. This is really helpful for different types of learners. Diverse topics are an amazing way to provide culturally responsive teaching that connect diverse students to the content. And we can group things by era or by phenomena or by people. So for example, in US history, maybe we want to discuss the influence of immigrants, both male and female. Female sources are harder to come by, but they are available. On maybe US culture or the economy, or on politics, or maybe on all of those things combined, or maybe we want to offer students the choice of what they want to focus on. So for example, maybe we want students to look at Africans before, during, and after slavery. And maybe when we talk about the gold rush in California, we should probably talk about Chinese culture and history and influences, or maybe Jewish or Catholic groups in the East Coast, in the culture, in the economy, in education, really big influences in regard to education, and Native American ideas and influences and challenges, which are huge and important and often underlooked. Providing student choices is really powerful. So for example, maybe we want students to research immigrants during the 17th century and explain the influences that they had on the locals and on the local influences on the immigrants, plus the challenges that they had. And maybe we allow students to pick which group of immigrants they want to talk about. Other diverse sources and perspectives are really powerful. So for example, in world history, maybe we have students look at different perspectives of the city of Quanzhou in southeast China from the 1100s through the 1300s. And we look at Marco Polo, who was a Christian Venetian, or Ibn Battuta, a Muslim from Morocco. His travels are so much more elaborate than Marco Polo's, and yet we never hear about him. I wonder why that is. And Hong Mai, who is a local Chinese scholar who writes very differently about the city of Quanzhou compared to Marco Polo and Ibn Battuta. And these diverse sources show students that information is not always black and white, and that ideas are blended, and it can be a great means to finding more accurate truths. And the goal here really is that we don't always talk about old white men. These sources can be found in a great site called Sites of Encounter. I'm going to list the sources at the end. Funds of Knowledge is also an extremely powerful way to reach students and as culturally responsive teaching, because it connects course content with students' lives and culture and interests and their knowledge, their experiences, and their goals. Really, really powerful. Differentiation in products or assessments can be varied in multiple ways. So for example, the complexity or the types of elements that we assign. So for example, a tweet, which is never something I thought I would ever consider assigning until prior to 2016, but hey, here we are. Or maybe we have students write out a main claim or a paragraph or an outline, which is a fantastic scaffold for writing an essay, or maybe an essay. Or maybe the timing is varied, a 1-minute exit slip or a 3-minute main claim, or a class period to write an analytical paragraph, or maybe we give students a week to write an essay. We want to offer students options whenever possible, but this is dependent upon the goals, the desired learning outcomes, and also on how much energy that we have. So for example, we can have students write an argumentative essay, and if that is our goal, then maybe writing or presenting a rap or a skit is not going to cut it. But if we want our students to present the ideas on the causes of World War I, then maybe it's okay for them to create a poster or a presentation or a song in order to get their ideas across. I like mixed use products, for example, a brochure about some sort of phenomena. And this would include research in geography and historical knowledge, analysis and writing skills, and argument making, plus art and design. So really this covers so many ways, so many learning types. Really powerful, really great. Reflections or redos are also fantastic. An exit slip or self-reflection or self-assessment or a peer assessment. These are really helpful for teachers to recognize success and areas that need review or improvements. For students, a draft or a resubmission of an assignment allows room for improvement. And this is so important because it promotes grit and a growth mindset with the idea of yet. Maybe the assignment isn't great yet, but there's room for improvement and we can get there. For group work, it's really, 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 really important that students feel comfortable and welcome. Otherwise, the success levels I have found wanting. And so, of course, maybe we want to provide options for students to work as individuals or in pairs or in small groups, or maybe we just mix it up sometimes depending upon what we need. For examples of heterogeneous groups, we can have each student in a group respond to one source of a varied complexity or length, and then share that information with the small group. This can be really helpful, and we would know who to give which sources to. And maybe another way to do it would be to provide different roles, some with greater cognitive demand. So, for example, one might be the reader, one might write or draw, one might research, and another person can be the group speaker. If someone is petrified of speaking in public, maybe we don't assign them the speaker role. For homogeneous groups, we can have students assess, again, sources of varied complexity and then share their information with the class, maybe as a jigsaw or as a presentation, poster presentation, whatever. And then in scaffolds, this, of course, would depend upon individual student needs. So maybe some students need more or less vocabulary to be defined for them, or shorter or longer reading chunks, or for graphic organizer with sentence starters or sentence frames or a comparative graph or a Venn diagram or a KWL chart, a know, want to know, and learn chart, maybe some are more complete than others. And this really depends on the students. And of course, different note-taking formats. Cornell notes are very popular and very powerful. I really like mind maps because I think it makes you read the whole section and then come up with the most important ideas. Annotations and summaries, color-coded information. Of course, we need to teach students how to do this, but maybe allowing them to take notes in a format that suits them can be really great. And here are some sources. Thank you. Bye.